Hi, it's Tom here from FDS, and today we are going to look at the perpetual problem of how to use Molle equipment off a Molle vest. Now obviously Molle is a standard for many military pouches, and here we have a BSUK Miranda 3-stack, and that takes 318s or 312s and is designed to fit onto any Molle compatible equipment using the usual row of straps on the back. Now the issue with that is that some games have a funny thing about assault vests and all this kind of stuff, or you might not want to take your full vest. If it's a really hot day, sometimes if you're just playing with friends, you only need 3 to 4 magazines, maybe 6 magazines if you're a lightweight user and you want to just have some on your belt, but you don't want to pay for Molle gear. Or if you have military surplus pouches, I know some people use those and they come with Molle attachment. How do you put them on your belt? I have designed this to solve this problem, and this is the belt up Molle adapter, and I'm calling it a belt up in honour of Grim Up Nerf. So if you're one of the gun guys, belt up. So there you go, you've got a belt up Molle adapter. There's 2 for each one. Obviously you can have multiple rows if you have something that's longer. To start with, you're going to need to get your materials ready so that you can build your straps, and just to show you, you're going to want 9 inches of webbing. I'm using red this time to give you a real contrast, so you can see it's different from this one's black and green, and the pouch I'm going to demonstrate it on is black, so I need to have a bit of contrast. I'm going to use red. So you need 9 inches of strapping for each one. This is 25mm webbing strap, and it's a higher strength one. It's got quite dense weave. It's the kind of strapping that we use for making slings, so it's useful stuff. I've just got to cut 2 strips of that. I'm using nice sharp dressmaker's scissors. Don't be tempted to use bad scissors, you'll get a rubbish cut. And then you just need to heat seal the ends. So I've got my little gas lighter to do the ends. You can use any hot sauce for that, just be careful you don't set anything on fire. Quick heat seal, just to stop them unravelling. And then you'll need some Velcro. So I've got black Velcro loops, and I've got the loops, and I've got the hooks. So I'm just going to need a little length of this one, and you can see here that I'm using for this bottom piece, you're going to want a 2.5 inches or 2 inches. You can use 2 inches, but 2.5 or 2 1/4 or 6 centimeters for that. So I'll just cut a 6 centimeter length, 2 of those. This was just cheap hook and loop off of the internet. Get it in local places. Often sewing shops have it, and sometimes even random places have it in little packs. My hardware store had some at one time. And then the bits, so that should give me a nice long piece there. And then the hooks. Now the hooks piece is slightly longer than the other one, so that's nearly 3 inches of hooks. That's 2.5, definitely 2.5, not 2 1/4 this time. So sorry, 2 3/4 inches if you're in America, or 7 centimeters if you're in sensible places who have real measuring units, not something from the 19th century. Doesn't matter if these are slightly shorter or longer by a little bit, but you do need to make the folds in your strapping the same sort of size. So again, you can heat seal the ends of these if you think they're going to unravel. You've got to be careful not to burn the hooks when you do that. Generally they don't unravel much. So that's all the materials you need. You need 1 piece of hook and 1 piece of loop for each one, and then you will need your length of strapping for each one. And what you've got to remember is that you've got to remember to sew the right way up. So in a minute we're going to get on the sewing machine. We're going to start by doing this section, which is the hook section, and then we'll do the loop section on the bottom. You've got to remember that your loop section's got to be on one side and the hook section's got to be on the other. It doesn't matter which way around you do it, but just don't put them on the same side. Okay, I'm going to hem round the piece of Velcro just to attach it to the strap. You can do this with a hand stitch if you wish. I'm using the sewing machine because it's faster. Obviously you want a nice neat running stitch. You can pin it in place if you need to. And I'm using a needle for denim, and I'm also using a relatively strong thread. Don't buy cheap thread, it's not worth it, especially if you're sewing through a thick material. And I've got my bottom tension set for fairly thick materials, and also running a relatively small stitch, because I want to get a nice density of stitches along here to make a nice strong stitch. I'm going to go round and I'm going to just get this stitched on. Now I've got to apologise to Iona, the seamstress at BSUK, for my attempts at sewing. I am by no means a professional sewing machine operator, as you can probably tell. So there you can see, just hemmed neatly around the edge and less neatly on the back. This is why I don't do this for a living, because I really am not that great at the sewing machine. And those are now ready to fit up, and I'll show you how they work. I'm going to use 2 on this design, and because there's only 2 rows, you feed the Velcro through. You want the furry side of the Velcro, the loops down. It's faster to thread. They both go through the back, like that. Then fold them over the top and overlock, fold over the top and overlock, and there, complete with my not very straight stitching, is your belt loops. So your belt can just go in here, and then that allows you to carry your Molle gear comfortably onto a belt. Obviously you can add multiples for stability, and if you wanted to, you could use slightly thicker webbing, because this is 20mm, you could put 25 or even 30 in some of those PALS loops, but I wanted ones that I knew would fit all my kit, because some of my Molle webbing, particularly cheaper off-brand ones that aren't handmade like the BSUK ones, do have different spacing in the strapping. So that is how that works. Now these have been tested with full loads. This is a 3 magazine load, obviously goes in here. My guys have been running these at games for about 3 weeks, and I've had no failures. The other cool thing is, obviously, if it's hanging on your belt, you can then just take it off like that, and then you can actually remove the pouch altogether from the belt without having to take your belt off. So not only does it save you needing 2 sets of pouches for games, but it means that you can adapt the pouches that you have, and you can keep taking them off. I made these in red so that you would be able to see them better against the black. Obviously you can have a nice discreet black here with an olive drab Velcro if you want those, and you can make a double layer. If you're concerned that this is a little on the flexible side, you can double up the strapping layer.